welcome back to the Woodshop Nerdery. I'm Tom. This is a brand new, fresh out of the box, Stanley number 4.5. And this is the manual that came with it. Do I need to have special knowledge in order to properly set up this plane, or do I just need to follow the manual? I purchased the plane from Amazon, UK. It's model number 112045. Here's the manual, so we'll be going over that. So why did I buy new? 15, 18 years ago, I was a hand tool guy. I had all sorts of Bailey hand planes, used hand planes that I had purchased, restored, and used quite a bit. Basically, the reason I bought new was because I've had used hand planes before, I've never had a new one, and I wanted that experience. Why did I buy a 4.5? Well, I had never had a 4.5.
The Stanley plane manual covers both bench planes and block planes. And for reference, the item number here is 32548X. The bench planes section of the manual covers a number of different planes. The plane I'll be working with is the G12-045. The Stanley 4.5 has a 10 1/4 inch sole and a 2 3/8 inch blade width. Number 1, application. Smoothing planes for final finishing and general purpose work. Jack planes used to plane wood to the correct size. 4/triplanes used to true uneven surfaces and long edges. A reference is made to Figure 1. Figure 1 shows an uneven piece of lumber. The X is marked through the shorter plane, which indicates that a longer plane should be used to true that surface. 2. The essential components of a bench plane, Figure 2. 3. Preparing the cutter for honing. Lift the cam and remove lever. Remove double iron and place on bench. Slacken cap iron screw. Slide back cap iron, turn and remove. Cutter is now ready for honing. The second sentence makes reference to Figure 3. Figure 3 shows the cap iron screw being loosened and the cap iron being rotated and removed from the iron.
The reason I think that illustration is drawn that way is because I don't think what you want to do is pull it forward and then try to lift it up, or put it on like this and try to pull it back, because then you're basically scraping your cap iron against the sharpened edge of your blade.
4. Cutter sharpening. 4.1. Honing the cutter. The cutter is supplied at a ground angle of 25 degrees. Before use, the cutter must be honed at 30 degrees. See Figure 4. Hone on a good quality flat oil stone lubricated with a thin machine oil. A. Place 25-degree bevel flat on the oil stone and raise 5 degrees to honing angle of 30 degrees. See Figure 5. B. Hone the bevel along the stone until a burr is formed. C. Lay cutter flat on the oil stone with bevel up. See Figure 6. A few light strokes along the stone will remove the burr. Note, the shape of the honed edge depends on the final use to which the plane is to be put. Straight with round corners for finishing work, Figure 7, and curved for coarse stock removal, Figure 8. 4.2. Grinding the cutter. Regrinding will become necessary if the edge is damaged, the bevel rounded, or the angle changed. When regrinding, use lubricant on the stone to prevent overheating. An undamaged honing edge, if larger than 2 millimeters, can be restored by light regrinding. It is then not necessary to remove the honing angle completely. Note, both honing and grinding angles can be obtained easily by using the Stanley Honing Guide number 14-050. 5. Setting the cap iron. Reverse the process described in Section 3. Use the following guide for setting the distance of the cap iron from the cutting edge. See Figure 9. 0.5 millimeters for fine finishing of hardwood to 2 millimeters for general purpose work. 6. Preparing the plane for work. The size of the mouth opening depends on the use to which the plane is to be put. Fine cabinet work requires small mouth. General purpose work requires a larger mouth. As factory set. See Figure 10. Remove the lever and double iron. Slacken frog clamp screws. Replace double iron and lever adjust cutter to correct depth. Use a screwdriver to turn the frog adjusting screw 14 to move the frog forward or backward. On H1203, H1204, H1205 models, apply hand pressure to move the frog. Hold the desired frog position while removing the cap lever and double iron. Then retighten the frog clamping screws. Reassemble. 7. Adjusting the plane for work. 7.1. Depth of cut. Hold the plane as in Figure 11. Adjust the depth of cut protruding through the mouth by turning the depth adjusting nut so that the amount showing is approximately the thickness of a hair. 7.2. Alignment. Sight down the base and move lateral adjusting lever as in Figure 12. Now that we've seen most of the manual that came with this brand new hand plane, let's take a look at a Stanley tool guide that was published around 1968. Thanks to Christopher Schwartz of Lost Art Press, we can dig into a PDF of this document. As I scroll through this document, you'll notice quite a few similarities to the modern plane manual. From the breakout diagram, to the sharpening and stropping techniques, to the technique used to install the cap iron, and these illustrations of sighting down the base of the plane to set the depth of the blade are just really similar to what we see today. To me, what's interesting about this document is it shows that these instructions have been around for a really long time.
So that's the main set of steps, 1 through 7. According to the plane manual, we're ready to start working. Next, the manual moves on to step 8, which is professional tips and maintenance, and also in step 9, plane problem solving. So let's go ahead and try the plane out before we move on to those other steps. Full disclosure, it's been a while since I've used a Bailey style hand plane. Yeah, it's coming back to me. Okay, so it's cutting. Let me show you this surface. That is really a nice surface. And as they say, the shavings don't matter, it's what's left behind. But the plane's a little difficult to use, to be quite frank. So I think it's time to move into those other suggestions and troubleshooting steps.
8. Professional tips and maintenance. To improve cutter performance, it is recommended that the procedure described in 4.1 is used to back off or polish the flat surface of the iron prior to honing. After removing the burr, 4.1c, strop the edge with a piece of leather, or draw the edge through a piece of softwood. Keep the cutter very sharp. Keep the plane base in line with the workpiece. Use minimum shaving thickness. Plane in same direction as the grain. Work from edge to middle when planing the end grain. Figure 13. Press at toe of plane at start of stroke and heel at end of stroke. Rub candle wax on the base of the plane for freer movement. Keep clean. Remove resin buildup with solvent. Keep bright parts oiled when not in use. Do not clear shavings with a metallic object. To protect cutter, lay plane on side when not in use. Do not drop. 9. Plane problem solving. 9.1. Problem. Mouth jams with shaving. Remedy. Too coarse a cut, reduced depth of cut. Poorly fitting cap iron results in shaving passing between the iron and the cutter. Regrind the cap iron edge on an oil stone. Figure 14. 9.2. Problem. Chatter marks on work surface. Figure 15. Check frog clamping screws. Check lever cap pressure on cutter. Check seating of cutter on frog face. 9.3. Problem. Tram lines or scoring marks on work surface. Figure 16. Corners of cutter too sharp should be honed to a radius. Cutter may be hollow on edge. Sharp projection on base may need to be filed off. Cutter may be damaged, rehoned, or regrind. Lateral adjustment poorly set. 9.4 Problem: plane skids over surface. Cutter may be dull and require rehoning or regrinding. Clean base with solvent. Check depth of cut.
Okay, so that's the plane performing as tuned up per the manual. I think there's obviously some issues here still. Part of that's going to be my technique. It's a really great surface though. So you can set up a plane just from the manual. Well, that does it for this video. Thanks for sticking with me to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.